Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel, Masses32210. We're back here in Chop Shop Customs. We're on another part of my trike build. Today's actually been a good day. I finally got a little bit more funding to get me going on repowering this motorcycle. Well, I guess you can call it funding. Thank God to Uncle Sam and the tax return. I finally went ahead and picked it up. Let me show you guys what I got for this project. Alright, here she goes. This is the Harbor Freight Predator 420cc. I don't know what you call it. I call them go-kart engines, but I guess you'd call them a small engine. Yes, it's not complete. I've already had a little field day with this when I brought it home. Let me see if I can zoom y'all in a little and I'll explain what's going on. If you notice the little mounting bracket, there's one here and there. And there was another actual mounting bracket bolted to the case right there. Well, what I did was I unbolted the tank. There was two bolts from the bottom side here and right here. I don't know if you can see right real good. There's a bolt, and I put them back in the case right now. What I did was go ahead and undo the fuel tank off this engine. With the fuel tank, let me grab it for y'all guys and I'll show y'all. This is one thing to help add a bunch of weight to this motor. If you notice, like I was saying, there's the two studs that went through right here. Here's a little metal bar that actually bolted down to the case. It was just held together with 4 nuts. 2 here. These 2 bolted down to the block. These 2 held it down to the tank. And these 2 studs are actually attached to the bottom of the tank that actually held it right here onto the case. I won't be actually needing this. The only thing this provided was, I think this held the gallon, about a gallon or 2 of gasoline. I don't even know if this thing actually had a built-in fuel filter, but it wouldn't matter because I'm going to be using the Harley-Davidson peanut gas tank that I got, matter of fact, sitting right over there somewhere. There you go, you can see it out in the corner of the shot. So we won't be needing the original gas tank. Went ahead and stripped this off. Also, to get a little bit more clearance, to get this engine to fit, on the other side, I went ahead and also removed the entire filter assembly, which did nothing more than really, I mean, this just filtered the carburetor. Had, I'm guessing this is like an EGR or something, little line, and I made a big spacer for the studs coming off the carburetor. What I'm going to do, because now there's about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of play now in the carburetor, I'm going to rebuild a new air cleaner that will bolt back to the stock location, and it'll tighten nicely and tighten up and snug the carburetor back to the engine. Also, what I did was I went ahead, and this is another problem. This is the big bulky air cleaner that came on this engine, and I'm trying to find a way right now how I'll be able to mount it right back to the stock location and not be interfering with the seat. There's a couple other odds and ends. These are not really major problems. The tank, definitely not an issue because I got a peanut gas tank I'm connecting to the carburetor. The air cleaner is definitely not a big deal. I can fabricate something to put back in there that will work just as good, if not better, than the stock. All these parts will be able to be mounted back on the motor if I ever have to return it for a warranty issue. You know, because technically the motor itself I'm not going to mess with. I'm leaving the governors in place. Everything else will stay in place. The only thing is I remove the accessories that bolt to this that I'm not going to really need. Or I'm not going to actually need the ones that come with it. Let me remove the camera off the tripod. I'm going to show you a couple other issues that I got going on. Pardon the shakiness. Alright, let's back this up. Well, if you notice, let me see if y'all can get it in a good shot. If you notice right now, I have it sitting on the mounts that came on this frame. And like, if you kept up since the first video, the original motor that I stuck on this, you know, this worked fine. It was modified. You can see here where I've cut one of the side tabs off. I bent the other side out. I have to cut it off. came in. I don't know if y'all remember, there was a V type mount I had here. Everything was just tacked up, so I went ahead and started breaking them out of the way. I'll have to come in and regrind all these. Well, now what I'm gonna end up having to do to get a little bit more clearance is, this is the spark plug housing, I think, or they call it something, but this is basically the spark plug wire up here. What I'm gonna have to do now is to get more clearance, because you can see this is sticking up at least 3/4 of an inch into the seat pan, which technically the way the pan is built, I could actually get away with this, but I'm not gonna, I'm not one to cut corners. If I'm doing this project, we're gonna do it right. To get about another 2 inches of clearance, if you notice down here, what I'm getting ready to do is pull this motor back off. I'm gonna go ahead and chop this weld out, chop all 4 pegs off. There's 2 here, 2 on the other side. Go ahead and remove this. I definitely, since I don't even have a use for this anymore, since we're not running a lawnmower rear end, we're going to be running, this Predator 420cc engine. I'm going to go ahead, we're going to remove this completely, and I'm going to go ahead and just build a brand new mount. I have something in mind. We don't need nothing super heavy duty. I got some nice thick angle iron. I'll put it on the chop saw. That way at least I can go ahead, I'll actually get, right here's about 1 inch. This is probably 3/4 of an inch. So at least 1.5 inches, maybe pushing 2 inches, I can get this motor to drop and help me give it some more clearances. So give me a second, guys. I'm going to go ahead and get some tools out. Go ahead and chop the mounts out, and go ahead and get it ready for the next part, which is building a new set of mounts and fabricating it. If y'all bear with me, there's no point in watching me cut all this stuff off. If you're going to be ever trying something like this, if you can't use a Sawzall, a grinder, it's something that you should definitely practice on and learn before you ever take on a project like this. But guys, give me a second, I'll get right back with y'all. Alright guys, well that was not hard at all, using I think this Diablo, I believe is the brand name of the blade. It's like double the lifetime, I guess, of a traditional blade. Well, if you notice, here was the mount that somebody had made. It looked like standard angle iron, 4-post tubing, nothing more than a simple little brace, I guess, to hold this. Not exactly sure what they were using this for, but it must have been something to use with the original engine that was put in this contraption. Well, that's what I'm going to call it, the contraption. I don't know if you can notice well. Let me zoom in. Now the second step, since now we got this completely out, we're back down to nice open frame. That looks like about 2 inches, maybe even 2.5, that I'm able to drop this motor even lower. If you notice now, I still got four little, I don't know what you call them, pegs. It's the pipe that was connecting all this together. Now comes the fun part. This is going to be at least 20-30 minutes of grinding. I'll go ahead and I'm going to take all that out, smooth it out, get it back right. If you've never done this kind before, this kind of work, the best stuff to clean this up, most people would be tempted just to go ahead and grab the angle grinder with just a regular disc on it, sit here for hours grinding. One of my favorites that I've realized works just as good. This is the Diablo Steel Demon. It's a grinding and polishing flat disc. I went ahead and picked one up at Home Depot. 40 grit. This should definitely make this like a breeze. To take this all the way down, to get rid of the welds, get rid of the pipe that's left. We'll get it back to nice round tubing. At that point, since we'll get all that out, we'll go ahead and get it cleaned up and get it ready to cut some angle iron out to refabricate a new set of mounts. And we'll hopefully be able to get in there as soon as I get this cleaned up. I'll go ahead and cut the angle iron, weld it in, and we'll drop the motor back in to see how much clearance we're going to get inside this frame. I think that definitely opened it up and definitely made it look a lot better right now getting this cleaned up. Well, give me a minute, we'll get back to that. Let me go ahead and have some fun getting this grinded up, and I'll get right back with y'all guys. Alright guys, look at this. This is, let me see if I can get it in here better, sorry for that. That is four completely ground off, I guess you'd call them risers. Now that we got all this done, this is at least getting me one step closer to seeing what this motor's going to look like. Went ahead and got all this cleaned up. Almost, you know, I probably might hit it one more time. We're going to try to, you know, I just want to get the full roundness, no flat spots at all. So that way you'll never know that something was actually attached here. Touch that up one more time. I need to measure out the block. Measure it out to figure out what the center holes are, or where the holes are going to be out for that angle iron that's going in here. Also come in here, I'll measure this. Probably maybe leave it a hair longer, and I might carve out the little sides so we get a better tight fit, so I can get a bead across the top and run a weld bead around the sides. You know, we'll get this firmly 100% attached. I'll go ahead, that's going to be the next step right now. Get my angle iron cut to make my new set of mounts, and we'll go ahead and get that. And probably when I get back on the air, we'll probably go ahead and show it at least tacked up, give it a nice, just 4 quick good tacks, and I'll set the motor in on camera. I'll let you know. I want to show off what the mount's going to look like. Nothing major, something simple. At least I'm able to go ahead at that point, once it's tacked in, set my engine in, maybe go ahead and add the torque converter onto the engine, and I'll be able to run a chain from the torque converter back to the sprocket, and I'll know left to right which way to get the two sprockets dead aligned. Then I'll be able to draw the holes on the angle iron to where the motor itself is going to sit completely bolted down. So that's going to be the next couple steps. I'm going to go ahead and get these cut. They'll be tacked in. I'll set the motor in there. Then I'll show you what that looks like. And you've seen, you know, when the motor's sitting like 3 inches higher, the spark plug was coming out of the bottom of the seat. So let me go ahead and get to that. I'll get right back to the video. Hopefully you're enjoying this. Alright guys, here's this ongoing saga of trying to get this engine in here to fit. If you notice, I set the engine in here. No, I haven't welded these in yet. I'm still moving them back and forth so I can set them where I need them. Got a little hair grinding to do to get this one to sit dead flat here on the end. Same thing right here, you know, it's still being fitted. Got the Sharpie out. Once I can figure it out where these are going to sit, I'm just going to mark them, take these off, clean up any hair rust they got on them, so that way it kind of helps them prep it for paint. You know, I'll come in and shoot my welds. I'll get the little short one here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. I get 4 decent welds, so this engine mount will never move. We got the engine set up in here. I got the torque converter. I'm trying to get the torque converter bolted up. This has turned out to be more of a headache than it seems like it's worth. Definitely this engine's dropped at least 3 inches. It's definitely a considerable amount. It's definitely sitting better in here. I like the way it looks. It's the lower placement of the engine actually starting to look a lot better. Right now it's one thing behind another. Having an issue, like I said, with this, getting this thing lined up. It seems like all 4 of these holes are a hair off, and I'm afraid I'm a cross thread going into the block. So what I'm going to do is put this whole engine up on my bench. It seems like these are the 4 correct holes. I am going to mark every one of these holes got a bolt started or trying to start. I'll go ahead and mark them with a Sharpie so I know which 4 I'm going to use. And I think the only way I'm going to make this line up is to drill out every one of these 4 holes. I'm going to have to drill them out a little bit bigger. It'll give me a little bit more wiggle room back and forth and up and down. So I got that going on. So far, everything seems like it'll be smooth sailing to get this motor in this frame to run. The only issue, like I was going to say, is what I found out is basically it's going to be the muffler. The muffler is going to be an issue. There's still, I can't use the original, but I think I did figure out a way how to, if I can do my own custom piping, how I can route the muffler away from the engine and have it maybe lower up underneath the battery box, and it'll blow the fumes out back. The battery box itself is going to now be unusable for what I figured out. Let me see if I can get you in there. If you notice right here, you notice this is the valve cover, this is the head. Well, this right now is protruding. This is sitting way back in here, and you can kind of notice how it's passing the beginning of the battery box. So what I'm going to have to do is go ahead and get this torque converter seated to this motor. At that point, I'm able to run my chain from right here straight back to the axle. I'll be able to get my side to side perfect. I'll be able to go ahead and mark this motor, mark everything on it, where the holes are gonna be drilled into these bottom mounts. Then I'm able to go ahead and take these mounts out. They'll be marked exactly on the frame where they're gonna get welded in. I can go ahead and take them out, clean them up, put them back in, tack weld them, just an itty bitty tack. So 4 little tacks on 2 pieces. I'll set this down, make sure the holes still line up. If not, it's easier to break a little tack than it is a full weld. So I'll go ahead and get, that's going to be the next thing being done. And you can see right here, here's the nice simple black cover. I believe it goes on something like that, or oops, I think we got it on backwards. So that's basically, it's going to have that look of that primary cover, kind of like your Harleys or S&S motors with like Baker 5-speed or whatever it would be. Oh, the only other issue right now, these are all, everything's simple right now. The major issue I've ran into is the rear fill up, which is right here. This is the fill up for the oil. With this torque converter, it's about, right now, I'm looking around an 1/8 of an inch. It's roughly about an 1/8 from the top of the casing to the back. I guess it would be a bearing on the back side here for this part. So that's going to be something to figure out what I'm going to do. The only thing I could think of to do quickly and get it over with would be to come up, take this, use my Dremel and cut this off completely, flatten it out. I'll be able to get it on there, I'll be able to get it back on the block tight. But the only disadvantage of doing that, when it's time to fill up the oil, I'd only be able to fill it up through the front here on the dipstick. So I have to kind of contemplate, is that going to be worth it, or if this dipstick's set at the same angle as that fill up, that's the only choice I have. And at this point, the 2-year extended warranty means nothing, unless I can buy another one of these somewhere and you know, modify another one and leave this in case I do have to take this motor back. That's the only things worrying me now. But from the reviews I've seen on Harbor Freight, these motors run strong, they run powerful. Cool thing about them, I did notice, it actually comes with the 1/4 inch keyway. I got it down here on a little piece of paper. But the parts I have built-in keyway, so I'm not going to need it. I'll just put it in the storage box. Well guys, this is another part to this whole series I'm doing. Check me out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a couple days. I'll work these problems out. I'll start, you know, cleaning it up. I'll start doing all this, and hopefully on the next episode, the motor will be mounted, and I'll be bracing the rear hardtail on this, and you know, we'll be moving on to a couple other little odds and ends. And I don't know. Well, we'll see what's gonna happen. Guys, thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. Hey, this is definitely a unique build. It's not like something everybody's building right now on YouTube. You know, I want to definitely be building something out of the ordinary, something that I basically already have a title for. It's not technically the bike, but hey, as long as you use a frame, neck, and a title, you can get away with anything. Well guys, thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing. Hey, like I said, thumbs up.